It's part 11 of the series, The Year I Got Skinny. This part is about the big goal unleashed, how I pushed past my lifetime adult set point, that set point weight we all fight with, without even thinking about it, getting to my lowest weight as an adult. And that happened in the summer of 2018. And the thing is, leading up, like the winter of 2018, I was doing pretty well. As I talked about, my dad nearly died. I got through that. He got through it. We all got through it. But I stayed on track. But the winter began to feel like a real grind. And I can imagine if winter had just continued on and on and on, I would be telling a different story. Because as the case would have it, springtime came. Spring came when I was down about 100 pounds. I hit the 100 pound down mark in early March of 2018. And we began doing small camping trips, small hikes and stuff like that we had not been able to do over the winter, or we really hadn't gotten around to, because hiking was my big goal. Hiking was my why. That is why I was losing the weight. In fact, the spring and summer before, we were out just going from trailhead to trailhead. My sons were out hiking. I was limping because 1 year before I weighed 280 pounds and I had a knee injury. So I'm limping around out there, not hiking at all. But I was out there, guys. I was out there, and I was out there driving this car around. That's why I did this out here, because I want to show you this car is the original Big Goal car. And so while I couldn't get out and hike 5 miles or whatever, I could drive this car around. And so my heart was out there in it every single day. And then in the spring of 2018, we got in this car again and we went out again and we began to hike and to camp. And then my son, he was about 15 at the time, 16 years old. And he said, Mom, in celebration of losing the 100 pounds, we should do a century hike. And so that would be a 100-mile hike, just discontinuous little hikes in celebration of losing 100 pounds. And, it was kind of an excuse to pitch a family vacation, a series of family vacations, and I thought it was a great idea. And so that is what we did. We went out on the century hike in mid to late May of 2018, and our first mile was in Redwood National Park. And we went up into Oregon and Washington in a 10-day trip. We did 4 pretty big hikes. And so to give a sense, a hike would have been maybe, the biggest one was 5 miles, not that long, and 12 or 1,300 feet elevation gain, I think. And to me, in my world at that time, that was a serious thigh buster, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Now, I know for you experienced hikers or whatever, that's like a baby hike. But you got to understand, I couldn't even really walk well a year before, and now I'm out doing 1,300 feet elevation gain. I was so proud of myself and really so grateful and happy. I was very, very happy in that season and just so amazed by everything. And the interesting point, there was a long old video on YouTube recently about this, because an interesting point is the amount of weight that I lost in those 10 days. So there was a 2-week period where I didn't weigh, and in those 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. 10 pounds. And I was in like the 160 range. That is a lot of weight to lose in that weight class, really a lot of weight to lose. And I had been otherwise losing about, a few pounds a month, okay, at that point. Your weight loss slows. And except that vacation, 10 pounds. And I maintained it, and then we kept going, and I was losing more. And what? And I actually worked on recreating this, and that's what the topic of that 30-day video is about, and how I've recently tried to recreate the factors involved. Like, can I really achieve that kind of weight loss again? And I did. And it is such a long video. It's very emotional. It's very much involved. But I actually make the claim that the happiness factor was a factor that year, that in those 2 weeks when I lost the 10 pounds. And it was in that time that I did push past that set point weight and just kept going into a weight range I had just never seen, had never seen. And why is that? How is that? How is it? I do attribute it to the big goal, to identifying, it's not about what size of your pants or what's the weight on the scale. As I like to say, if you can measure it, it is not big enough. What are you doing 1 year from now? Picture it. and get out and begin to live it. And that is what the big goal is. That's what I was doing at 280, 270, 260 pounds with the help of this car, as this car helped me get to those trailheads, even with my, banged up knee. And then in 2018, I was able to get out and I was able to hike. And as I've had challenges in these last 7 years now, I lean into that big goal because my why, it's still critical in making, having that consistency, making all of those daily decisions, all of that. We're always going to want to, eat the donut or whatever else. That really never changes. And so we need the big goal. All of us need it. And we need to find our own. We need something that touches our hearts very deeply. And that's what was happening for me in the spring of 2018, and how I was able to push past those, numbers on the scale that otherwise I think I would have stuck there. I think I would have stalled right there. So I want to give a little shout out though, because I did this right here by the car to make a point. So this is the car. This is the original Big Goal car that we took around in 2017. This is a 2003 Acura MDX. And so it was 14 years old at the time. It is now 21 years old. And we call this car Zippy. And that is not because he's so fast. Okay, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you. Let's just memorialize this. Okay, so it's because, can you see it? Let's see, right there. See the zip tie? Okay. Zippy is held together with zip ties. And that is so Zippy has served us so well. And I just wanted to get Zippy in this because I'm thinking that Zippy doesn't have a lot of time left. And that makes me really sad, actually, because this car has been so important in all of this, really. And so I think we're going to have maybe a last hurrah of Zippy, or I don't know how long Zippy will be with us, but we will have a season of, Zippy's final adventures, I expect. I know it's crazy. You guys, so here in the Sequoia National Monument, we've lost a lot with the forest fires, and a lot of stuff from those days in 2017 have been burned and are gone. But Zippy is still here. I'm still here, okay? And very important things are still here. But it hurts me to potentially lose one, and so I'm trying to just take it in and give Zippy the respect he deserves for the role that a car could play in something like this. The car did play an important role. Okay, so I totally digress. But in our next episode, in the year that I got skinny, we will turn to a factor that really affected the beginning of the community. So we talked about the role of my doctor, and this is what happened when we got back from the Century Hike. Okay, the beginnings of the Century Hike. And by the way, we have a Century Hike reboot right now, and I am packing right now to go to Arkansas, where we are going to finish it. And so the Century Hike also lives on, and boy, if I could get Zippy back there to view the eclipse, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? And Zippy will experience it from here, and surely will appreciate it. Okay.